Harappan civilization was successful on many levels. Long-distance trade with Mesopotamia flourished, and towns like Mohenjo-Daro were connected up and down the Indus. Goods, technologies, and ideas flowed through these connections, and wealth soon followed. This is clear from the grid-like city planning of Indus Valley cities, some of which held tens of thousands of people by 2500 BC. They were ordered, structured societies with governments capable and stable enough to guide projects as big as city construction. Multi-storied buildings, paved streets, monumental architecture, they all speak of civilization's power and order. However, archaeologists noted that these cities began a steady decline in population between 2000 BC and 1500 BC, with some appearing as ghost towns at the time of the Aryans' migration around 1200 BC. There are no indications of mass death, war, or natural disasters to account for this, though these were all postulated as theories in the past. While there are several different theories that attempt to explain what happened, one particular theory has gained ground recently, and it tells us a lot about how the discipline of history works. In short, the theory notes that the major export or cash crop for the Harappan cities was cotton. The wealth generated by cotton is thought to have supported trade-based cities which imported grain from Mesopotamia and therefore fed their massive populations. However, cotton is a crop which exhausts the soil, and after a decade or two, the soil will become barren for a fairly lengthy period of time, several years. Modern farmers rotate cotton with crops called legumes that nourish the soil. They replenish the soil by growing these crops. They also have modern fertilizer, which they can use to beef up the supportive nature of soil. The Harappans didn't have this technology, and their apparent response was to clear more lands and new fields and plant cotton further and further out until the land was used up. This clearing of land up and down the banks of the Indus River created a secondary problem: erosion. Trees along rivers help control flooding, and without them, floodwaters carry away the fertile topsoil that make these lands desirable places to farm in the first place. So the theory is that the Harappans overcleared their lands and exhausted the soil that remained, creating an environment that could neither produce enough cotton to support the city-states through trade, nor could it produce enough food for large population centers. They'd exhausted it. So the people had to move away on their own and gradually dispersed. While I personally find this theory a likely explanation, it doesn't have proof. I wanted to mention it here because this theory was only developed in the late 20th century, at a time when popular culture was captivated by the ideas of the environmental preservation and eventually things like global warming. In other words, our ideas about the past are intrinsically linked with our experiences and concerns here in the present. We were concerned about our modern environment, so we looked for environmental problems in the past, and we found them.